Hi everybody. So where I'm going to this video will talk about the domain and range of exponential functions. So we already know and discuss about the range and the domain. So you already understand this one. Also, when we talk about domain, we are referring to the possible values of x or the inputs, and when we talk about the range, the possible values of y or the output. Okay, so let's have first a review. So y is equal to 2x plus 3, so you have here a domain of a negative infinity to positive infinity and a range of negative infinity to positive infinity. So we also have what we call the set builder, okay, or set builder notation. So wherein we can write this one into this kind of, so we how do we read this one? So x such that x is an element of a real number. And then for the range, y such that y is an element of a real number. Now for number three, so why is it that negative 3 is not included? Because remember, this is an example of a rational function in which the denominator should not be equal to 0. That's why we cannot substitute negative 3 in a denominator. That's why in the domain we have negative infinity to negative 3 union, negative 3 to positive infinity. And also the range, we cannot have the value of 0 because we have a numerator that is constant na 2. So muna siya ang atong range. And for the number 3 example, so as you can see here in the domain, we have negative 5 is included because we can substitute negative 5 plus 5 that is equal to square root of 0, which is 0, di ba? So we cannot substitute number which are greater than negative 5. So what are great no less than should be less than negative 5. Yeah, less than negative 5. Why? What are the numbers less than negative 5? We have negative 6. Negative 7, negative 8. If we're going to substitute that negative 8 plus 5, it will become negative square root of 3. Now, we can have now a 3 imaginary number. So, it is an example of imaginary number. So, in real number, that is another type of number which is complex. So, that's why we stop lang sa negative 5 to positive infinity, and the range we have negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, so how does it related to our topic, which is exponential function? So we are given like this. Again, set builder notation and interval notation. So, for example, we are given wait, um, this one. So, domain and range of exponential function. So, we are given a let f of x is equal to a multiplied to b raised to p of x plus h, where h here is what we call the constant. Okay? The A here, it could be positive or it could be, it could be negative or it could be positive. And this is the base. And this is the, what we call the exponential expression. Okay? So the domain of the function is real number, or mean it could be negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? Now, how do we get the range? So if a kuno is greater than 0, what are the numbers greater than 0? Probably going to positive infinity. And what are the numbers less than 0? So probably going to the negative infinity. Okay? So what are the numbers sa mga negative infinity? So mga negative numbers. This one also is negative numbers for the less than 0. So let's try to take a look of these examples. Example, let f of x is equal to 3 raised to x. So therefore, if we're going to write that one into this form, what is a? A here is a here. So 3 raised to x. So our a here is positive, di ba? Okay. And x here is a linear siya. Then sa itong constant, di ba wala? So 0 atong constant, so wala. So therefore, this one, ang atong domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. Well, the range, what happened to our A? Is A greater than 0 or A is less than 0? So our A is greater than 0. So therefore, we're going to use this one, h to positive, h to positive infinity. Now, what is our h? Do we have the value of h? Wala. So that's why we have 0 to positive infinity. Okay, another example, number 4. So for number 4, this is our a positive or negative? Yes, it is a positive number. So meaning a is greater than 0, right? Oh, a is greater than 0. Now this is linear. Now, what is this negative 2? Negative 2 is h. Okay? So that's why our domain is negative to positive infinity again. And if we're going to write that one to set builder or set builder notation, we have x such that x is an element of a real number. Now the range, what is our range? Since a is greater than 0 man, so we can still, we're going to use h to positive infinity. Now what is our h? Our h is negative 2. That's why we have negative 2 to positive infinity. Another example, we have here now. Negative, let f of x is equal to negative 2 raised to x minus 1 plus 3. Now, this is our a. What is our a? Is it negative or positive? Yes, it's negative. So therefore, our a is less than 0. So what happened gani if our a is less than 0? We're going to use negative infinity to h. So therefore, thus, we are going to use here negative infinity to h. Now, what is our h? Yes, it is positive 3. So that's why our range here is negative infinity to 3. And if you're going to write that one into set builder, we have y such that y is an element of a real number where y is less than 3. Nganong less than 3 man? Because going to negative infinity. Padong man siya sa left, so negative.